Hello and welcome to episode 69 of the Your Way podcast. I've got Mitch Webb on today again. Now, I don't think the backstory is known of this, but the last time Mitch came on the podcast, I got no idea what podcast number it was. And I was like, I think it's episode 69. I'm not really sure. And he was like, episode 69 would be cool. Not that we normally talk in innuendos, just to be clear. That's not how my work normally goes down. And I was like, and then when I realised whatever episode it was, I was like, I tell you what, we'll get you back on for episode 69. So here we are, episode 69. Mitch, welcome back. Lovely to have you.
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird. So there were loads of things that we didn't talk about last time. Also, Mitch is in my time alchemy space, but he's not one of my one-on-one clients, so we don't have like one-on-one catch-ups regularly. So we just thought we'd like shoot the shit and let you guys listen in, basically. But I was just telling Mitch that I have been doing some, I basically felt this real pull last year to get a lot stronger. And I used to do an awful lot of like weight training, work in the gym, I've had lots of personal training in the past. And whilst I never stopped the weight training, it was like the last 2 years I've gone into the gym, I've put the weight on the same weight every time, done the machines, done my 3 sets of 10. So like my weight, like my strength hasn't gone down, but my strength hasn't gone up. And then when I got back from Bali, I was like, right, it's time to get strong. And Mitch, I used to do like 100 kilogram, which in your money is 220 pound deadlift.
Wow.
But
Wow.
but with a what I would call a hex bar or a trap bar. You know, the
Yeah.
one where you stand in the middle.
Yeah, it's just going
So
to
I,
be a little bit more quad dominant, a little more legs involved than a typical deadlift. It would be more hinging from the hips.
yeah, but that was basically like the lower back preservation society
Right.
from when I
Yeah.
used to do it, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, to get the like I would go 20 kilogram bar would be like they're like the bar, just the bar, right? Just the bar. I was like, right, this is enough when I started again. The lying leg press machine, you know, it's like the weighted plate and then you add the plates to the side.
Yeah, leg press.
Yeah, but some of them are like the seated one, and then you've got like the one where you're like lying back a bit more.
Yeah, they have them in all different kinds of positions, but it's just a leg press. They can even have them like way up in the air. There's so many different variations of them.
So the one in our gym, there's one where you're sitting like this, and then you press, and the plate is in front of you, and you just press it out.
Yeah.
And that's one where you've just got like the weights that you put the thing in. But then there's
Mhm.
also one where you're lying back, the plate the plate in and of itself is heavy, and then you add weights to the side, but they're like the proper weights.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm doing that on like, and just the plate is heavy enough. So what's been amazing in the last 2 or 3 months, I'm now doing 130 kilograms, which is about 270 pounds on the leg press.
Wow.
My
Decent amount.
deadlift hasn't my deadlift hasn't gone up that much, but I've also started doing like clean and press with and I feel like badass, like you know, like badass stuff when you're like, yeah, I'm a girl in the gym, I'm in the boys section, and I'm doing my clean and press or whatever. It's not quite a clean and jerk. It's very much more gentle, like I'm just cleaning it up and then I'm squatting down a bit and I'm pressing it above my head.
Yeah, that's clean and press. Clean and jerk would be like that.
Oh, right, like more
A
with a
jerk would
kettlebell.
be if you're doing a kettlebell. A jerk would be like above your head like that.
Okay.
With a barbell, yeah, it'd be like this. That's a jerk. But this would be a clean, and then that's a press. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was doing, but with the bar, right? And that's heavy enough for me right now. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get that much heavier, apart from like the teeniest weight you can put me in. Anyway, but I
Well,
can just feel.
that's what you want to do to build weight would be a progressive overload. So it's slowly over time adding tiny bits of weight, and you can even go as small as like the quarter pounds, the half pounds, like even under 1 pound, which I don't know what that would be for a kilogram, but it's like that slow improvement. Each additional stressor is telling your nervous system build muscle so we can handle this new load.
Yeah, and I think so. I might have to go for an extra rep though, because the lowest weight that we've got in our gym is 1.25 kilograms, which is already like 2.5, 3 pounds. So if I was
That's
going to add that
typical.
on each side, I'm adding six
Yeah.
pounds already.
Yeah. And so you're doing this is if it is leg press and you stayed at the same weight, you're probably really good. That's what you're doing is how do I say this? that movement, you're building neurological like groove for it. And so the brain is learning how to be more efficient with that pattern. So I imagine you're really efficient with the pattern. I imagine if you went in and you threw 2.5 or 5, if you have to do it on both sides, you probably wouldn't even feel that, to be honest. And I imagine you could probably do that consistently for probably 3 or 4 weeks going up and see how you feel.
On
You'd
the
be
leg
surprised
press, yeah,
how
but
much.
you think on the clean and press as well.
That's a harder weight. That's harder to go up on. Is
That's what I
anything
mean.
that's legs. I'm like, oh yeah, you got that.
Yeah,
Overhead, you're gonna go up slower. Like last week was my, and I just finished that before here, but like my max out week. And
yeah.
what I thought I could do, I went anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds over that, and I had no way thought that I could have done that. So it was like surprising, but if you spend a lot of time with that weight, you're going to be really good at it. And the overhead press, anything overhead, the gains are slower there.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you what's really interesting, and I didn't even realize this until we started this conversation. But first of all, so I slightly tweaked my neck. I think it's fine. I think I've caught it. But you were about to start telling me something that I could do that would help, and then you were like, "We should record this." So tell me
Oh yeah.
that, and then I know what we actually want to talk about that's relevant to other people.
Yeah, let's do a little one-on-one coaching session back and forth. But yeah, when you're describing that, so I've been through every little pain you can imagine, over the years lifting weights, and this past year, with my mentor Irene Lyon, I got introduced to Feldenkrais, and I've got a guy that I've been working with that she recommended out of New York, and he's
Right.
awesome. And Feldenkrais has blown my mind when it comes to it's like a doorway into the nervous system. So it's a way that we can
Right.
learn regulation and we can build capacity because it builds a lot of awareness. That's what this work is. And it's a very slow form of movement and really just being super in your body in the present moment and aware. It allows us to build that communication pathway with our body so that when we feel something that's safe, we move towards it. When we feel something that's not safe, we move away. As you know, when we have trauma, we tend to lose that disconnection. And then we're reliant on the external world to tell us how to be, which ultimately is like you're going to get your butt kicked in that, of doing that for,
Mm,
if it's not accurate, if it's not informed, if it's not well attuned, the body is saying, hey, listen to me. And we're not used to paying attention to it. So in the past, I would go into corrective exercise and stretching. That would look like taking a ball and smashing that area. These may be things that would be good for you too, right? So you take like a tennis ball and you're doing soft tissue work. So you're moving that shoulder, you're opening that shoulder a little bit and it's going to open that up. That can be beneficial. It can also be really aggressive. So how do you know, right? Um, and this is where Feldenkrais shines. So whenever you've got a knot and you got two sides, what happens when you pull it tighter?
it gets tighter.
Yeah. So then we're just so think about that. So you've got something in here, nothing's injured, something's tight,
Yeah.
right? So how do we loosen that up, right? Well, the soft tissue may be something, but it's like maybe that's a little bit down the road if we're in acute pain. And I don't want to just go like yanking on it, pull, 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 go to the chiropractor. Those are all kind of aggressive things. With Feldenkrais, we're moving that range of motion and exploring. So you would be, let's say, laying with your body on the ground, and number one, you're going to feel the temperature of the ground. You're going to feel your brainstem on that cold ground. You're going to notice the parts of your body that are tight, and you notice that by what's touching the ground and what's not touching the ground. So, like right off the bat, maybe my head is touching the ground, maybe my neck's not. Maybe my shoulder blades on one side are touching the ground, and maybe on the other side it's lifted up a little bit. Now we're getting a picture. Now we're getting
Mm,
information, right? So then we're going down the spine. I feel my mid back. Okay, cool. Now I can feel my hips. And maybe I don't feel my legs at all. Normal, super normal. Okay, information. So can I take an inventory? And now, if you're saying my shoulder is tight, some things that I would probably say are, well, let's just orient around the space. Let's really feel the back of our head and our brain stem, and let's slowly, maybe just with your eyes at first, move it a quarter inch. What would that be in millimeters? Isn't that what you do?
No, I can do 1/4 inch. That's fine.
But it's like it's just a little bit, right? So you're feeling that, and it's like, what happens? Well, I notice the shoulder blade comes up a little bit. I notice my eyes go here. I don't feel any pain, but I'm not going for it yet. I'm just getting information. Let me go back to the other side. Oh, over here, I got a little bit more. It feels a little bit more free, and so let me just keep playing with this. And it's kind of like yoga, kind of like
Mm,
working that edge, but it's more not in a competing way. For me, I used to compete with the person next to me in yoga. And so we got to take that.
yeah.
But we see that pattern with this. We see the pattern that I'm efforting, I'm performing, I'm competing. There's your pattern. There's your early developmental stuff coming up as I'm just trying to observe my movement, right? So it's like, oh, so now I can see that this is how I try to get it right. I try to make it an exercise, an effort. I try to go to the in range of motion. I try to make it a rep like it's a workout. But can I just go into get that social engagement stuff going, the ventral portion of our nervous system to just like be with the part that feels like it needs to compete, learn as we move this movement what happens with my ribs, what happens with my collarbones. And I'm not trying to make it happen, I'm playing with it. You almost get this like juicy, flowy, and damn, your nervous system, that parasympathetic starts to come up. And nothing I've ever experienced in the corrective exercise world lets the tension out of the muscles and out of the system like this because it's like it's just the nervous system. It's called a neurosensory exercise. So
Right.
instead of forcing this thing, can I allow it to soften and open up through observation? It's beautiful.
But can I share something really interesting? As you're talking me through it, and I slightly moved my head left and right, but then I stopped and started listening to you, right? As you got towards the end of that explanation, I felt in the back of my left shoulder blade, which is kind of where if it's gonna go, that's the bit that's sort of feeling a bit twitchy. I felt what can only be described as like a gentle fizzing sensation.
Yeah.
As you just like literally just in the process of you describing it, and you're like, and your nervous system just be able to release it. And my back was like, right, because
Why do you think that is?
it's all just energy.
Well, what comes to it may be, well, what comes to mind is did we just take the pressure off of it and allow it to be what it is?
Yeah,
And it just
yeah,
decides it's gonna like let go. That's just a that's just like a little idea. I don't know.
yeah. I love it. Well, people at home, come and let us know if you experienced something similar with your aches and pains when Mitch was sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, I had in my mind, and this is true, that from the middle of last year, I just kept getting this nudge. It was one of the reasons why I went to Bali of like, you just need to get really strong. Like I didn't know why, but it was like, you need to get strong, mentally strong, physically strong, emotionally strong, whatever the other ones are that that aren't coming out right now, right? And so part of that was, okay, go to Bali, fortify myself, I guess spiritually, emotionally, adventurally, right? Got back, also felt then was like, right, I want to get my body strong. But and we haven't even talked about it yet, I saw Mitch do a video of a big ass boy deadlift, a big, a big man deadlift, a real deadlift with an actual straight bar last week, right? And you obviously have your own backstory about like your exercise and stuff. But I'm just wondering, having only just thought about this like 5 minutes ago or something, do you think this? So if I'm like, so it's easy for me to be like, it hasn't been a focus of mine for years because I've just been going through the motions. And actually, the last time I lifted properly was pre-burnout. Is this also just a natural progression of my body's like, all right, love, we've got capacity again now. We're resourced, we're well, we're healed. We're not using all of the energy to process all of that stuff because a lot of that's been processed. So we can get strong again.
So what's the question? Like, is that natural to like
I
have
just,
a
well, that's
healing?
well, guess do you see it for yourself when you think about it, right? This work can be tiring, can't it? If you're tired because you've been processing emotions and like all of this stuff's come up and there's been tears and then it's very draining and your life force energy is trapped, right? And then your life force energy is freed and you've got this zest for life and you've reconnected to your purpose and you've got all of this energy again. I suppose what I'm saying is it more than just this intuitive nudge in my mind of you need to get really strong, and more of like this natural thing of it's not like I didn't care about going to the gym for those 8 years. I just went through the motions as a like almost a protective mechanism because it's like there's only so many batteries available of energy and you're using those for your healing right now. Now
Mhm.
you can use them for other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a natural progression in want, need, whatever you want to say, to not we had to learn to rest, right? Because that's what our body was asking um, from us. I know there was a lot of frustration and shame and sadness because of that. Like, oh man, I can't do the things that I love to do. I love to exercise. And then we learn to love the rest and we learn to love our body. And it's like, I'm not going to hurt it. And as we improve our capacity through that is healing. And I want to say that for people that are in that place and say 6 months ago, I couldn't get off the couch, like I started walking. And so as I built that capacity, that confidence through small repetition and moments of safety that proved to me, hey, you are strong, you are healing. Um, that was my natural inclination to get stronger, to be in this work too that I know you are. Um, we want to be resilient, and when I've been really weak, I really value strength, and not in a way that I'm gonna perform or effort or force, but like, nah, I got extra energy and I want to use it, and it feels really good. Not like the old way of, man, if I gain extra weight, people won't love me, or if I'm not strong, I'm gonna be weak. It's more like this feels good. I like when I do it. That's built over that confidence and that desire is built over lots of little moments. And I'll say when I did that big man deadlift, I cried after it, because it showed me like, hey, dude, you're not broken, and I haven't done that type of weight in a long time. And I got a lot more weight that's going to come from that, but
Yeah.
that's a moment of safety and a little drop. It looks like a lot, but that's been built over many months. And it's just more proof to put in the basket of I'm healing, I'm recovered, I'm getting better, and I have the energy and the capacity to do this. Because there's also days when I don't want to do it, but I do what I can, and I'm still showing my body even on those tired days, like you got this, you can still do this, and I'm not gonna hurt myself if that makes sense. Because I was always like, am I doing it right? And you gotta let go of that shit.
Yeah, and that recognition as well, I think, of how powerful we are. And then also that difference between, right? Because I don't know that we've spoken about it, and if we have, I've forgotten. But that difference between, because there will also be days when you're like, I'm not going to train today, right? My body needs to
Yeah,
rest, right?
absolutely.
Versus in the past, maybe that never happened. I used to go 6 days a week. It didn't matter what was going on. I was in the gym 6 days a week, right? Before work for like 2 hours, I would be on the first tube in the morning. I'd be up at 4:30, and it would just be ridiculous, right? But I wouldn't, and a lot of my eating, a lot, it was all around, yes, there was an element of it shifted towards healthier, like, so it shifted towards being like, I want to eat to help fuel my training, and I want to be strong and I want to be healthy. And there was a real focus on health.
Yeah.
Right. But what's been
Yeah.
really interesting over the last year, and this, especially like the last few months, as I've been like intentionally trying to like properly increase my weights and stuff, and noticing how quickly it's gone up, I said to Nat, I said, if I'm honest with myself, this is the first time that I've ever weight trained while I'm eating properly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
man.
where I'm actually eating properly. I've not got stupid food rules. There's not lots of stuff going on. Interestingly, I am in a body that is 6 kilograms, 14 pounds, whichever one is your money, heavier than I was this time last year, right? That would have freaked me out not that long ago. I'd be like, oh my God, what's going on? Nat loves it
Well,
because my boobs are massive. And it's just like, but it's just so interesting to then be in this space of, okay, but what nourishes me? How do I support myself? How do I love myself? What does my body need?
yeah,
And maybe my body doesn't need to be the size 8 or the US size 4 that it was for a long time, especially considering I'm 5'10", right?
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
just
I
very
always forget
interesting.
you're so tall. You're like
I
me and
know.
you at the same time. But yeah, no, I love the quote. It's not to shame this. The backside of this quote can sound like you're shaming people that are weak, but it's strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. And it's again not to shame anybody who's weak. It's like it's also maybe there's a caveat of the strongest thing you can do is listen to your body. Just like you, I noticed that. Let's see, probably a year ago, I noticed the pattern of overriding what I was feeling with exercise. I had this belief, and this is coming from the biohacking world, that if I woke up and I was tired, I need to do a hard workout. I need to fast until lunch. I need to take this supplement. I need to take a cold bath. And that is like slingshotting your nervous system into higher activation, depending on adrenaline, norepinephrine, these cortisol, these stress hormones. And that makes sense because that's what we've ran on. These people, including myself, that fast until lunch or running on coffee or using exercise, lowering calories, not respecting their body, they have no connection to their body. They're likely in a functional freeze. And these stress hormones feel good because otherwise we're shut down. And so, can we be with our body, know that we are okay, even when we're tired, even when we need a rest day? And that has changed for me too, because like now I'm in a fat loss phase. The way I did that in the past was crash dieting, fasting, cutting calories, like, and you can also go into over obsessive with it as well. But this time it's boring. I eat more protein so that I'm not, so that's the most satiating thing. I'm eating carbs still. I'm not cutting carbohydrate. That would kill my workouts. I'm PRing, which means a personal record every time I've been in the gym for the last 6 weeks. It's insane. I'll also say I'm on testosterone, so that doesn't hurt. But the real change here is the nervous system because and being able to listen to that and attune to that and support my body. So I've been losing like 1 or 2 pounds a week, maybe. My strength is going up, but I'm supporting my body instead of trying to punish it. Being like, I don't like you at this level. I need you to be here and I'm going to do anything it takes. It's more like, oh, like yesterday, I wanted to train. I was tired. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that today. So what did I do instead? I walked and I got in the sauna and I did like foam rolling and stuff on my legs because they're beat up. And it's
Yeah.
like, I want to be in the gym, but I will not do the way I used to. And that's why it's sustainable. It doesn't feel like I'm on a diet. Once I did track calories for like a week to kind of understand where am I at, and then I made a plan, and it's like just doing the thing instead of
Amazing.
hacking it. I don't think the body likes that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're doing
Brilliant. And
great.
it's
I
so
think it's
in
awesome. I love that you're getting strong, and I think that's a great impulse to have. Like follow that as long as we're respecting the body in the process. Like body wants to push, body wants to get strong and worn out.
yeah, and listening to the body, right? Because so I after COVID, I didn't join a gym. I've got loads of stuff here. I've got like kettlebells, I've got a bench, I've got adjustable dumbbells, I've got bands, I've got a step, I've got a vibration plate now because lymphatic nervous system
Do
stuff.
you
Oh, and
like
I've
do
got
you like the vibration plate?
it's all right. I only stand on it. I don't exercise on it. I just stand on it. And
Have
also
you
apparently
exercised on it?
I've used a power plate in a gym before. This one's like I mean, I guess I could exercise on it. It's not very big.
You see mine right here? I got one.
Oh yeah, so mine is a similar size to that.
Yeah. But here, let me tell you my story about that is you can take a kettlebell like you have, and on a
Yeah,
day that you're tired maybe, or maybe
yeah,
it's for a short workout. You take that kettlebell and you do everything you can think of for like 5 minutes. Tell me how
right.
you feel. Tell me how you feel after that. I did that when I worked at this
On the
chiropractic.
machine.
Yeah, on the machine.
Right.
I worked
Okay.
at this chiropractic place a long time ago, and I didn't have time to work out. So he told me, he's like, you want to go to the gym and you can't. He goes, take a 35 pound kettlebell, and you take a 25 pound, and just like go to town, squat, overhead press, curls, bench press, or push ups
Right.
on plates,
Yeah.
squats. And man, I was so because what it does, it activates every muscle in your body.
Okay.
And so then you're working everything and you're doing it without all the stress, but it'll be a different, it sends quite a damn, it sends a bunch of growth hormone, it decreases cortisol, and that's a great way to get a stress free workout that actually works your body.
Okay, I'm gonna try it and feedback. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
do it.
try it and feedback. Now, interestingly, and this is real, I'm not making this up just because I talk about dreams. So Nat is about to be so by the time this episode comes out, Nat will be 53, but he's 53 at the start of February. And when he turned 50, he decided he wanted to join the gym. I'd just been doing stuff here, right? He decided he wanted to join the gym, and actually, but he didn't want to go on his own. Would I go with him? And I find it hard. Okay, yes, I have got some kettlebells, and I can do stuff like kettlebell things. But with the range of kettlebells that I had, to train legs properly was hard. Okay, so we started going to the gym together, and then I sort of picked up and was going 2 or 3 times a week. Now I had a dream, and I'm trying to think when it was last March, Aprilish time. And in this dream, there's two girls on a row machine, and it was weird. Like one row machine was on top of the other row machine, and the seat wasn't quite there. You know how dreams are. They're not like it's not like very clear normal life.
They're
Anyway,
super
but
weird.
I'm on the row machine. A girl talks about how she's going to be doing 10 minutes on the row machine. I'm like, well, I'm only going to do 5 minutes on the row machine. So then I'm like, oh, I've got to look up 10 in the I Ching. I've got to look up 5 minutes. I've got to look up five in the I Ching because I'm like, but I said about, and I was like, no, I'm just going to warm up and do 5 minutes, right? And then I'm going to go and do my weights. And in the dream, this girl sat and she looked at me and she said, you look tired. Like this is one of the clearest dreams because my dreams are normally very symbolic, right? This was one of the like clearest guidance dreams I've ever had. This girl looks at me and she's like, you look tired. I think you need to have 6 months off the gym.
Is when was this dream?
Like last March's time?
Okay, okay. I thought it was. I couldn't tell. I was like, that makes a lot of sense for if it was in the past, but it's been more. But it's not now. So did you have different capacity then?
Maybe, but I think I was still in a space where like it's very like I was still probably over giving it a bit.
Did it
Like it's
protect
very
your
easy.
part?
Like you can learn to rest, Mitch. You can learn to nap. You can still be a hustler that naps,
Oh yeah.
right? So like there probably was still a bit of that, but I think I was just still basically exhausted, right? So I kind of had like my body was just tired. Now, and we could say like who knows if it's linked or not. Maybe this is how we get into weird shit in our last 15 minutes. But it might have been a bit after March. But anyway, it's around that time. I ignore it.
You ignore the dream.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not having 6 months off the gym. I'm like, I'll start paying more of attention to like, am
So,
I
so
tired? What do I need to do?
I think it'd be cool to know what was your interpretation of that at the time and maybe now. But
Well, at the time when the woman was like, you look tired, I think you need 6 months off the gym, I was like, 6 months not going to the gym. So I thought it was more like I need to focus on like yoga, like things that aren't weight stuff. Because I associate the gym, you never get me, I'm never going to be a cardio girl or a class girl, right? So like for me, the gym is weights. But anyway, so fast forward a few weeks and I injured my knee. I injured my knee trying to climb out of something that was steeper than I realized with Sydney. And I couldn't do any lower body stuff. Really, I could barely walk. I couldn't do any lower body stuff for like 4 or 5 weeks.
that's interesting.
Right. And then had to build it up slowly, slowly, slowly. Then I went to Bali for 3.5 weeks. And I went to Bali and thought that I would join the gym and just go to the gym when I was there. It was so fucking hot. Like, it was so hot.
And then
It,
it was hard. It was hard how?
no,
Emotionally,
hot,
physically?
hot. It was so hot.
Oh,
It
hot,
was so
hot.
hot, right? It was so hot. Like the heat was absolutely something else. Now, I did loads of yoga. I did loads of meditation. So again, I had this period of time. So interestingly, although I didn't end up having 6 months off, I had this prolonged period of injury, not doing anything, building it back up slowly, then a period of time of not doing anything. So even though I ignored the dream, I actually ended up with this quite long period of time of having this rest away, which again, and you're never going to know, right? But then got back and was like, okay, now I'm ready. Like now I'm rested. Now I'm ready.
Yeah, and like part of me thinks, was that dream letting you know, like injuries don't. I don't think that injury happened in that moment with that heel, right? The injury likely built up over time, right? And that was like the straw.
100%. Yeah, I had a niggly knee. I had a niggly knee for a long
Yeah,
time.
so
Yeah.
it's the dream is, and I also am wondering, so is that like saying, "Hey, slow down"? There's like wear and tear happening, right? And then also, what's the symbolism of the part that's like wanting to go 10 minutes, and then also the part saying like maybe that's enough? It seems like there's a protector part in there, and it seems like there's also the go get 'em part.
Oh, as in because the girl on the rowing machine, the other girl on the rowing machine also represents an aspect of me.
Yeah, I think I mean that's
Yeah.
what I learned from doing the time alchemy thing is like it's symbolism. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah.
just curious.
There is that, but yeah, but there is, I think that's fair. There is that battle in my head of like, I need to go and achieve and I need to rest, especially at that time, because I think Bali was really, really good for me, right? In terms of slowing down, really getting into presence, really letting go of some old patterns at another layer. But I
Yeah,
think there's always been this like push between like I need to take care of myself and I need to do these things and I need to be gentle with myself. But at the same time, we're like, but I'm ambitious and I'm driven and I want to get stuff done. And I actually still think that's important. It's like the healthy masculine and a healthy feminine, but it's like, can you deliver both of those things in a healthy way?
that's what
And
I'm
I think
talking
it,
about.
yeah, yeah. And it was still like that push, push, push. So you're right. So it's like you need to do 10 minutes. No, I think five is fine.
Well,
I can see, yeah,
it's not a, this is all me talking to me here, but
I
it's
love it.
like,
You
it's not
can.
a or, it's an and. Can we include both and allow both of them to exist? Because it's not that just this and it's not just this. Probably the good spot is probably right here in the middle with both. So how can I keep both of those parts of me, the go-getter and the rester, and let them both be here and let them both be allowed to inform me because I need both, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why it's so helpful to share your dreams with people. Not even because someone else is going to tell you what your dreams mean, because I think for yourself, it's always got to come back. It's always got to come from you. But that interesting thing around like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. And then you can go away and think about like the different perspectives.
Oh yeah, and like that's what we do. It's like it's not my place to say tell you what it is, you know that, but it's fun to talk about this stuff. And I think even like with like Chat GPT, I get them to analyze my dreams a lot, and it's I don't get it in like tell me what to do. I'm always very clear, like give me options, let me feel into it. Like what are you hearing here?
Yeah.
Because I will always I'm very I'm a generator. I'm very feel, let things come to me, and but I'll know. I won't like, and I know what it feels like to try to force one. But if I can allow, it just comes up, and that's all what we kind of been talking about this whole call is learning to be in our body to listen and attune and allow all parts to come up, and there's something to take from each one of them.
Yeah. And I think, and this is probably where maybe, I don't know if this is where the dream comes in or not, but it's also like, can you slow down enough to listen?
That's
It was,
everything. That's what this work is.
yeah. So you've met Greg because Greg's in Time Alchemy as well. So Greg was in Bali when I went to Bali, right? And we met up and he did some Qigong with me on the beach one day. And I do qigong in fact I do some qigong on the vibration plate. But it's just very gentle movement because also
Sure.
it's like the qigong movements kind of help you get into the nodes as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And but it's very much like, but it's kind of done with like this intention of also like benefiting my body physically. I'm not saying that's bad, right? But there was definitely an element for me of like going through the motions of like I'm doing this and I'm going down all the different lymph nodes, right? And then Greg is like like a whole different level of presence. We're on this beach and he's like, "Can you just hear?" And there's it's all very calm. And I was like, uh, I was like, when I'm doing these like connecting to myself practices at home, I'm like kind of half-arsing it and going through the motions. I'm like, I'm not really like connecting into this. Like I'm doing it, it's having a benefit, but I'm not receiving that like guidance. I'm not really properly slowing down to like feel. It's like when I go on a walk now, I have to stop. I sit on a log. I find a wooden log, natural wooden log, and I would sit on the log. Sydney comes and sits next to me, and I just sit there and I listen and I breathe. Because even on a walk, it's easy to then not be kind of super present on the walk. So again, it could be part of that, right? Because that was very much my experience of like, well, that tussle between like, am I really doing these things or am I actually being present? And what is life asking of me that is properly deeply connecting, deeply slowing down, deeply receiving the guidance?
Well, that's the beauty of this work is like we get to see our patterns. It sounds like a lot of learning how to be in my body and observe instead of doing it right, right? Like, and why do we do it right? Because we don't want to be me, don't want to be punished. I want to be perfect. Don't get it wrong, because and that's what my Feldenkrais person, he gives me the mantra every time. He's like, Mitch, write this down. This is not football practice, right? Because in football practice, and this is how Feldenkrais works so beautifully, is this what you describe, and I see it every single time, and I'm learning to let it go more and more. And it's I gotta get this right now. It's saying you cannot fail. That's not allowed. And if we don't fail, how do we learn? If we don't see the contrast of someone else being more in their body, let's say, and seeing that, oh, I'm doing it differently, it's easy to shame and blame ourselves. But
Mm.
that's just the observing of the pattern. So if I can notice that, like, oh, like, can I just be with myself when I'm failing? Can I understand that that's what learning is? And that's why we do this work so that we can see this stuff. If you didn't see that, I'd say seeing that is the win. And it's like for me, I would be trying to do the rep and be trying to do it perfect before he's like, and I can do that because
Mm.
that's what I learned how to do that. But I miss all of the learning moments in between if I just stick the landing at the beginning. Because then I'm on a knife's edge. How did I get here? I don't know. I just forced my body up there. Well, if I can slow down, I can see the pattern of why are you forcing here? What are we doing here? We're trying to learn. Like, it's more like, can you explore and let that stuff come up? And it's grief and it's anger and it's frustration and it's all that stuff. Yeah, you're healing.
Yeah, and I think it's such a beautiful point as well because it really does speak to that. And I think I've seen you talking about this recently as well, but it's very easy, right? When you're like a high performer, high achiever, maybe you've got some perfectionistic tendencies, not that I would know, of course, right? And you go and you live out, you leave and you do this work, right? And you do this work to heal, right? But if you're not very careful, because I definitely went down this one, the healing work and doing the healing work properly and then focusing on what's next to heal and what's next to heal and what's next to heal just becomes the next thing to fixate, obsess, and be like perfect about. Like my coach is forever saying to me, she's like, you don't need any more growth. You don't need any more lessons. She's like, life will show you the stuff that you need to look at. She's like, you just need to let yourself arrive. She's like, just
Yes.
let yourself arrive. She's like, you've done enough.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot. You just teed me up. Like, if you look at the health industry and then trauma and mindset and all the stuff that's packed into that, it's all fear, man. And it's like you're not doing it right. You didn't test this. You're doing it too much. What if it goes wrong. It's got to be this way. And what I've learned here more recently that allowed me to get to a much better place was trusting. I was so afraid that I was going to do too much, that I was going to not do enough, that it wasn't going to be perfect, that I wasn't doing it right. And that kept me from following. And it really happened in my sessions, right? So a big activation comes up. We have to trust that to come out the other side. That's trauma coming up and out of the body. But I had so many stories. I had learned so much that I knew every possibility. I wasn't, and I was using that to disconnect from myself. This feels like too much. Let me stop. Now, what happens? All this momentum, this energy, this moving, that is all these emotions that have been stuffed in there for who knows decades. When you don't trust it, everything goes back. That doesn't feel good. That's when we feel like crap. But I learned that whatever is here is what is meant to be here. You are ready. You feel safe enough. Your body's not going to give you more than what you're
Yeah.
ready for. And if I can
Yeah.
trust that, that's real safety. And I can learn everything in the world, but all that matters is, can I stay with myself in that activation? And now that I've started seeing that, I see it in marketing. I see it in supplements, diets, ways of doing the work. Like, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. Well, what are you talking about? Because, yeah, every time I come up that wave, if I can't trust that, I'm never going to move through it. But my body, if I can learn to trust my body, I saw that every time I went up that ladder, my body went, this is going to be too much. Well, that's a story. That's how it keeps me, of course, it's protecting me from the intensity of this experience. But when I
Yeah.
learned to sit there at that door and keep knocking, maybe I'm not following it through. Eventually I go, oh, this is how you scare me out of this. What happens when I trust this? Can I trust that even on the other side of that, if it is too much, I'll still be here with you?
Mm.
And when you do that enough, those are those little reps that I'm talking about. Because ultimately, you get excited for that. Oh, I hear you. Okay, hold my hand. And then boom, and freedom is down here. It's not getting afraid and coming back down here. You need to see that many times. It's not that fear is bad. Fear wants to protect us. Fear can come with us too. But you can only do that when you've built up enough safety in yourself and confidence, and then you get excited for it. And that's when we start taking water out of the boat instead of leaving it in the
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah. And I think self-trust is such a massive thing. But the challenge as well is like people are afraid. It's like when I've been working through like actually I don't want to work with people who are in active burnout anymore, who are in active freeze. I want to work with the people who are ready and resourced. They just want to go to their next level. But those people don't need me, right? And then it's like letting go of that pattern of feeling needed or feeling all of the rest of it and
Oh
and and
yeah.
and it, right but the mark but then it's so challenging I mean that's not challenging in and of itself, but we're so easy to get sucked into this marketing that essentially requires you to not trust yourself, to doubt yourself. Like I don't know how much it'll come up on the camera, right? I've got this like bit at the front. I don't know, I think the lights, but anyway, the front of my hair is going grey, right, is the long and short of it, right?
I can kind of see it, yeah.
Right. And sometimes, and I stopped dyeing my hair a while ago, or if I do put dye in my hair, it's a natural dye because I just don't want chemicals on my head.
Mm.
But I have got this like little scalp spray. So if I'm feeling like I just want it all to be brown, I can just spray the front bit and it washes in and washes out. But it's so interesting. Like so I was 40 last May. I think you might have that similar birthday coming up.
April, yeah.
Um, but it's so interesting now. So like all the stuff I get is like perimenopause, and I should be having collagen, and I should be doing X, Y, and Z. And like honestly, the conflicting advice about whether I should be fasting or not fasting, or all of these different pieces. And if you think about like the whole diet industry or the whole fitness industry, and all of that stuff, it completely disconnects us from our own self-trust, our own intuition. Like, what does my body need? What doesn't my body need? How does my body want to move? How does my body want to eat? Is my body a bit overweight right now? Okay, maybe I should eat a little bit less, and I should just intuitively feel into what that looks like. But it's so interesting, and like we're meant to look a certain way and we're meant to feel a certain way. Like if there was no fear, like there would be no dieting industry or like the skincare stuff. Like if there was no fear and shame-based stuff, I just anyway.
But to do that, we have to be connected to our body and be willing to respond to it instead of shame it out of whatever it's telling us that it needs, right? That's what shame is. Like, no, 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 you're wrong. You want this. And like talk about being 40 this year. Yeah, you know how many guys say like, man, when I hit 40, I don't know what, something just clicked. You don't think it was the 4 decades before that of being disconnected to your body? Like my body's getting stronger and I'm going to trust that. Sure, there's a little voice in the back of my head that says X, Y, Z. There's things that I'm learning that I need that are different. And the more I can attune to that, I'm like, wow, that really helped. Wow, that felt really good. Um, it's just a story and a narrative to keep us small and keep us stuck and keep us like, because we can't listen. And it might be rest. Maybe you need that. I've been resting in the cocoon for several years. I'm not trying to paint the picture that I'm some high performance, strong dude. I'm just saying I'm coming out of it and there's proof and that's awesome. And there's days that I rest too. But it's like giving myself permission to be either one instead of having to do all these things to be who I think somebody wants me to be. Why not just be me? That's what I'm working on this year. Instead of all this doing, just be. What feels good?
Yeah.
Well, this feels good, and
Yeah.
this feels good for this season or for this season that I'm in.
Yeah. I love it. And you said something earlier on about, and maybe this is a beautiful place to end it as well, of like, I think it was in the context of talking about doing your training and like not shaming yourself for what you weigh or all of these different pieces. And I think it does, or no, it wasn't that when you said that as well, but it was about thinking you needed to look or weigh a certain amount in order to be lovable. I think you said
Oh
something along
yeah,
those
oh yeah.
lines,
It's like
which
I
I
want to.
really relate to. Right? I really relate to. I was the fat kid that got put on the scales by the parents because it was a problem and like I needed to be monitored and it was bad and comments got made to teachers at school when the teachers were like, Louise is really good and they were like, yeah, but look at her. Like, thanks from it. I love you too. Her sisters pick on her because of how she looks. It's a wonder I can be visible on camera, honestly, the work I've done. But to come back to that place of, no, do you know what? I'm going to choose to love myself and I'm going to choose to take care of myself and I'm going to choose to trust myself and just see where it leads me. And it's a beautiful thing to get to that place because there is so much noise out there that wants you not in that place.
Yeah, and if you don't, you just stay stuck. Then you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to fix it, and you bring in the fear and the shame, and that's only gonna hang out right here. This takes being with uncertainty and trust and being okay with it getting wrong and being willing to meet all of that and to keep meeting your body and doing what's right. I don't think there's a right and a wrong. I think there's just information. And can I follow the information and the wisdom that's coming from my body? It is a healing machine. It is extremely advanced and it's like a supercomputer. So can I just follow that?
Amazing. So we kind of dove straight in at the start, Mitch, which made a huge assumption on my part that people who were listening to this podcast episode listen to all the podcast episodes and already know about you. So as we come to the end, can you just tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you help people, and how they can find you? Because I think this has been really interesting to add in that extra layer of, I guess, more of the like physical body support expertise that you bring to the table alongside the like nervous system magic. Magic.
Magique. Yeah, I like that. I
Yeah, don't ask
appreciate
me
that.
to speak any more French.
So my background is health coaching. I basically can't. I was in the corporate world before that, but I um, came to this work through my own journey of having a lot of chronic disease and slowly learning what it was that I needed to get better. And that started off with nutrition and exercise, and went into biohacking and detox and specialty, taking everything to the extreme, and ultimately burnout. And I 4 or 5 years ago, I found the nervous system. Like that is my specialty and what I focus on, the tool that I use the most. The people that I work with are earlier versions of me. They have chronic disease and chronic symptoms that they've tried a lot of things and nothing seems to work. And there's pain involved, and there's anxiety and insomnia and gut issues, autoimmune, mystery illness. And ultimately, that comes down to a dysregulated nervous system. Your nervous system is kind of like the operating system and the computer that runs all these different systems of the bodies, the hormone, the metabolism, the circulation, the whether inflammation's up or down. And it can get really easy to chase the symptoms and try to figure out what's going on. But that is what kept me stuck and eventually led to this sensitized burnout state where I had no energy and couldn't sleep and just didn't trust my body. And I was listening to everybody else. And when I learned what I teach is how to listen to our body again, we become our own medicine. And it's because now we're connected and we can listen in and we can attune. And we do all kinds of things like building capacity, working with different parts and emotions, building capacity, learning how to regulate. And what I do is it's one-on-one work. And I put a lot of information out on what that looks like on my podcast, the Rooted Community podcast, Rooted Conversations.
I was going to say, I was like, have you changed the name?
There's a local group here called Rooted Community that does food, and I always get them mixed up. But
Nice.
my podcast, I'm on social media. I've got a quiz that if people want to kind of get an entry into this work, is just see what's your primary nervous system state, what's that mean, how to work with that, and you get like a guided meditation to regulate. And if you're interested, a call to work with me. I just do like a free chat for anybody that's listening and interested. And healing looks like a lot of different things for different people, and so that's what I do. I meet people where they're at and build a plan, and whether that's nutrition and movement and exercise type stuff, sure. But more than not, it's just meeting people where they're at, normalizing a lot of the symptoms that are going on, and learning how to accept and allow sensations, and then meet what comes up as a result of that, like buried emotions and sensations that have felt like too much, and learning to get that stuff out of the body. You can do that at home. You do that with me in session, and the results speak for themselves.
Amazing. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you for coming
Thank
on
you for letting me
again.
share.
We still need to do a podcast where we talk about aliens. Maybe we'll wait for the big disclosure. It's coming.
Yeah, once we get the disclosure, we'll come in
Next time. But we'll just drop that. We'll just drop that as a spoiler for people to be like, oh, it's coming. We've got some stuff. We got some stuff we're going to talk to you guys about at some point. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Check out Mitch's stuff in the show notes below. You can also check out my stuff in the show notes below. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a review, comment on YouTube, come and let us know how you found it, just so we know, because it's always lovely to hear your feedback. And I will see you next time.
Thanks, Louise.
Mitch.